Coming up on Unpacked.
There was paranormal in the house as well. Banging, things moving. Dad just called someone to the house. He said, go to Soweto, get the best Sangoma you can find.
Whether you're white or black, if a person has not grown up in that type of environment, it all is a lot.
A lot of people used to question. They'd come to her in Dumba and say, but how can this woman be a Sangoma? And she just said, get a knife, cut yourself, then cut her, and what's going to happen?
A Sangoma who happens to be white is here to tell her story. Let's unpack. Bronywyn Saayman is a white Sangoma who has been practicing for more than a decade. While this might come as a surprise to many, Bronywyn has been in touch with her calling from a young age. This is Bronywyn's story as a traditional healer. Let's unpack. Welcome to the show, Bronywyn. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So take me back to what was your earliest childhood memory? And at the time, what was your connection with any kind of spirituality?
I think earliest childhood memory would be just basically dreaming things that then would happen. But you don't really think of at the time as being unusual.
Yeah.
Mom and sister also had this ability to know things, so it was normal in the house.
So my understanding was that something had happened while your mom was pregnant with you. What was that?
Mom was being attacked by demonic forces when she was sleeping. So then Dad said no to our domestic worker, go find a Sangoma. And then she used to sleep next to my mom every night to protect her.
Wow. And how did that manifest? How did she experience that?
Well, my Kosi Julia became very loved in the house by everybody. She became part of the family. Mom didn't have much of a choice. She had to be protected.
But or maybe I'm not asking the question correctly, but in terms of the experience, when you say attacked by demonic forces, what was she physically experiencing? Was it happening in her dreams?
No, it
Were
was
things
physical.
happening in the house? So what was it that she was experiencing?
Demons basically attacking her body while she's trying to sleep, holding her down. There was paranormal in the house as well. Banging, things moving. Spirits were seen around the house a lot.
So when she, did your mom then go and consult, and what did the person advise her to do?
No, Dad just called someone to the house. He said, go to Soweto, get the best Sangoma you can find.
And what did the Sangoma say the remedy was?
Well, first she had to basically prove to Dad that she was real because he was a bit skeptical. My dad was an atheist, so...
Yeah. And how did she prove that?
She said, did my dad hide something somewhere?
Oh. And then she went and found it. Wow.
She told him what it was and where it was. So then Dad's like, okay.
I believe you.
I don't have a choice. I've got to go with this because my wife and my child are in danger.
Yes. Okay, so then Mom was then protected for the period of the pregnancy. And I'm assuming, was that her first interaction with the spiritual world?
No.
What had happened before?
My mom was born with the veil. So she always had the ability to communicate with spirits. Just at the point where I was conceived, it got very demonic and very heavy. It was like she was being attacked. I can only think that because of what I was going to be, they were somehow trying to stop that from happening.
Okay, so then you were born and you're saying that you would dream about things that would then happen. What are some of the things, for example, that you would dream of?
I think my first memory was I went to my mom and I said, I dreamt my sister's going to have a baby. And she was already pregnant. So that was the one that stands out the most for me.
And what was your relationship like with your siblings and your parents in that time?
It wasn't a good time for the family. So I think I was quite isolated most of the time. I used to go into my own little world.
And do you think because you had a specific gift or there was something about you that they didn't have?
No, the thing was that I was actually quite jealous of Mom and my sister because of their ability to communicate with the spirit world. Julia had put a protection on me that I couldn't communicate and see them.
Wow. And this is from when you were in your mom's tummy? Yes. And were you aware that you had this protection on you, or when was the time that you were told about what happened to you while you were in your mom's belly?
My mom only told me about the protection after I got the calling. And then I was a bit upset because I was jealous of the fact that they could communicate and I couldn't my whole life.
How did they communicate?
Oh, my sister used to have full-on conversations with somebody I couldn't see.
Wow. And what was your understanding of that at the time?
Well, it was seen as normal in the house. Okay, Mom and Sarita can talk to spirits and see them. So it was quite normal.
You weren't like scared or
No.
worried about the conversations or anything like that?
No, things used to move around in the house. There was a lot of paranormal, but nobody acted like it was strange.
Yes, yes. What about your dad? How did he, because already you say he was an atheist. How did he deal with all the spiritual things that were happening in the house?
Dad was very laid back, so he would go with the flow, but every now and again my sister would get attacked by demons as well.
Wow.
She'd have handprints burnt into her neck and that kind of thing, and then Dad would get, he's a man and he has to protect his family from something he can't see.
Yes.
And he wasn't coping with that.
Yes, yes, yes. What is the reason in the spiritual world that the demons would specifically be attacking your sister, for example?
I've never really understood because my sister, she also got called to Twasa and then she was too scared. So the reason they were attacking her, I can't actually understand why.
So when did your calling happen and what did you experience that you were like, okay, this is now a calling?
I was actually just going through life and then everything went wrong.
And you were how old at the time?
31.
So what are some of the things that went wrong?
Just at work, strange issues with people that shouldn't be there. And it got to the point where I didn't even want to go to work. Fighting friends, family, you become very isolated and desperate because everything's just, it's blocked and you can't move forward.
Yeah, yeah. Did you get physically sick?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
It's almost like a flu-like illness and your body's heavy, you have headaches and nobody can help you. The doctors don't know what to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you go through this period in your life where everything starts going wrong. The doctors, like you say, they don't know how to diagnose you or prescribe something for you. When was the moment where somebody said, actually, we think this is a calling?
Well, when everything was going wrong, a friend that worked with me said, I think you must go see the Sangoma. So out of desperation, I said, okay, I'll go and see him. And I arrived at his practice and he kept looking at me very strangely. And I said, what's wrong? He said, no, you're a Sangoma. And I just thought, okay, maybe I think you're wrong.
Yeah.
Because, I was in shock and I'm trying to get answers there and he's telling me something that I don't really want to hear.
Yes. And what was your understanding at the time of what a Sangoma is?
At that time in Fourways, we're actually going through a lot with the fakes that had come into our industry. The ones giving out the pamphlets at the robots. So the image wasn't very good at the time.
Yes, yes. So in your mind at the time, Sangomas were either scammers or that kind of thing. So when now he's saying to you, you're a Sangoma, what was your reaction and response at the time?
I was actually happy because there was an explanation for a lot of things in my life. I was happy, but I also thought, this can't really be possible because my exact words were, but look at my skin color, I'm white. I can't be a Sangoma.
Yes, yes. And what did he say to you?
He was adamant.
Wow, wow. Up until that point that happened, you had never heard of a white Sangoma in your life?
No, actually I hadn't.
So what was his explanation as to, but yes, you are a Sangoma?
He went on to give me a basic reading, which was not bad. So I thought, okay, this guy's right about a few things. I'm going to listen to him.
So what are some of the things that he said that affirmed your belief in what he was saying?
Just what was going on in my personal life, who was absent, who was there, and why.
So what was the next step that you took then?
He wanted to take me off to the mountains in Botswana, and I said, no, it's not going to happen. I don't know you.
Yeah.
I got hold of another white Sangoma, Diane, and I emailed her.
That he introduced you to?
No, I Googled her.
Oh, wow, okay.
So I said, this is what has happened. And she said, no, you definitely are. And then there was another white male Sangoma that I asked, and he said, you absolutely are.
Wow. So they confirmed for you that you are a Sangoma and you have the calling. How did you then respond to the calling?
Well, you know, when you get told that everything in your life is about to change, you go into this shock. So I went to a church, the Baha'i church, non-denominational, everybody's welcome. I was looking for comfort of some kind.
Yeah. And what comfort did they give you?
There's a lot of understanding. You know, it's a very gentle environment. And it was there that I found my way.
How did you find your way through that environment?
An African lady came in and she looked at me and she just said, come. And I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And she took me straight to my teacher.
And as in your teacher that's going to mentor you through the Sangoma process?
My Gobela.
Yes, your Gobela, yes. Okay, so you met your Gobela, and what was then the next thing that happened?
She confirmed that I was her student. Obviously, you know, we dream about each other prior to actually meeting.
Yes.
So I had been dreaming of her, and immediately I said, no, I'll start training.
When you dream of your Gobela, do you dream like an energy, or do you actually see a face?
No, you see the face. The reason being, when you do see that person in life, you say, okay, but I've been dreaming about you. I know who you are.
Yes.
There's the recognition.
Yes. But when you dream of them, are you aware you're dreaming of a Gobela, or you just see a face and then when you meet them, it's like, oh, I can connect the dots?
So you don't know who the person is because they're in your dreams so much.
Yes.
So you start getting used to the face. So when you do see them in person, you're like, okay, I know you.
Yes. So now, what was the prescribed training? You know, some people will go away for a year or 6 months. What was it that was prescribed for you?
So she was in Soweto and I was in Fourways. I was living there with the children.
Yes.
So for 6 months, I was up and down between her place and home.
And what happened to work in that time?
I couldn't go.
You couldn't go to work?
I gave up that part of my life.
And you were able to at the time?
Yeah.
Because I know of some people who, when they respond to their calling, they try to keep their life going and they just add this or supplement with this to their lives. So you were in a position to be able to quit the job and just full-time go into training.
I didn't want to go back to work because the circumstances at work had become so ugly that I refused to go back.
You don't think that, like what you were saying, because you had a calling and everything was going wrong, that that contributed, therefore you responding to your calling would mean that the environment might get better, if that makes sense?
I just didn't want to go back at all. I was not interested. I didn't care whether it got better or not.
Yes. So talk us through, you know, the training. What are some of the hard moments that you had?
Most of training is hard. You know, they push you to levels that you didn't know your body could even work at. Lack of sleep, dietary restrictions, no sleeping on a mattress, sleeping on the floor. I think the hardest part of training is just the workload.
Yeah. How did you, and you know, I would love for you to just guide me here. How did you consolidate the part of, you know, connecting with your ancestors and the fact that everything you had known up until a certain point was that, no, there's only Black Sangomas and only Black African people will connect with their ancestors. How did you consolidate that with the training and what you needed to do?
I just had to put all my faith in my teacher. And she had white students before. So she said to me, look, it's not unusual.
Yes.
And she understood that for us, it's a completely different thing. It's not our culture.
Yes.
So she took a lot of extra time to just help me to get through it mentally.
Yes. How did she assist you with that?
I think the things with her, the main thing was, especially with slaughter. Because I used to not agree with that. I'd run away. I'd cry for the animal. And she would just say to everybody when they laughed at me, no, but this is not her culture. Leave her alone.
Yes.
So that was the most important thing for me at the time. Also, a lot of people used to question. They'd come to her in Dumba and say, but how can this woman be a Sangoma? And she just said, get a knife, cut yourself, then cut her, and what's going to happen?
In terms of that training and all those things, what kind of support did you have at home?
Not much support at home because, this is now mommy and the wife, and she's going off to Soweto to a squatter camp. So I had a lot of, should I say, apprehension coming from them.
Yes.
Why is mommy changing so much?
Yes.
So I used to go off and do the ceremonies and rituals and not tell them what I was doing.
Yes.
Because it would have scared them.
How did you help them get more familiar with all the changes? Because I think whether you're white or black, if a person has not grown up in that type of environment, it all is a lot. It's a lot of change for the people around you to deal with. So how did you help them get on board of the process that you were going through?
I used to load my children in the car and take them to Soweto. Come and see.
Yes. And what did they say when they came to see?
They loved it.
So your training was how long?
6 months.
And by that time, was your process all done?
What happened was, during the training process, my teacher started to just leave me to my own devices. And I thought, okay, but what's going on? So I was starting to consult even before I finished. Because she knew that I was just going to go off and do my own thing anyway. So she left me.
Yes. And what does that mean when you say you started to consult, as in you started to have patients?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And where did you set up your space?
I was just working from home.
From home, okay. And what kind of people were drawn to you?
All kinds, all ages, ethnic groups, it doesn't matter.
Yes. When you obviously are done with the training, there will be a specific ritual that you go through, as in like your graduation. How was that graduation for you? And how did the people that came to support receive you at the graduation?
The final ritual I refused to do.
How come?
The killing of a goat and the drinking of the blood. I just said, no, I'm not going to do it. To me, it just doesn't seem right. Drinking blood. And I just thought, no. Because, I was very against the slaughtering of animals anyway.
Yes.
So my teacher was okay with it. She
Yes.
said, look, slaughter's not in your culture, so it's fine.
You don't feel that you've maybe missed out on a part of the process because you didn't do that step?
Now I do.
So would you want to do something about it now?
No.
What was it that you could have done in place of the slaughtering, the cutting, and the drinking of the blood? Was there anything you could have done as an alternative?
No, I don't think that there is an alternative. But does that one ritual actually make you a Sangoma? No.
So when, and I know this doesn't necessarily happen with everybody, that at some point during the Twasa process, that your ancestors need to speak to you in a certain language, or the teacher, I think, speaks to you in a certain language, and you need to then respond, or your ancestors translate for you. How did that process go for you? And do you feel like that for you was an affirming moment?
See, the thing is, communicating with the ancestors is, a lot of it is actually just telepathic communication through pictures, or they actually give you words. It's not language specific.
So for you, it's not about language at all. It's more about the message. Okay. So where are you consulting from now? Is your Ndumba set up at home?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So what are your feelings currently about the fact that people constantly question and challenge that you are white and you're a Sangoma, and possibly say you shouldn't be doing this?
People's opinions are not going to change the way I do my work. I'm there to help people. So if my calling is to help other people, I'm not going to let people criticize me in a way that I'm not going to be able to do what I've been called to do.
Yes.
It's a calling.
And I mean, you have students at the moment. Tell me about the variety of students that you have, or let me be blatantly say, do you have white students?
Strangely enough, I have 3 white students. It just worked out that way.
Because you guys find each other.
Well, it's all can I say, premeditated by the universe that at a certain point they find me.
Yes.
Because I've walked the journey, is it not perhaps a case of me being able to help them more because I've already walked what they have to walk?
Yes, yes, yes. No, that makes sense. So if you have to say, what are some of the biggest challenges or prejudices that you face, what would you say those are?
The biggest prejudices, and it's such a stupid question. I've been asked so many times, how can you be a Sangoma if you can't speak African languages?
Yes.
And my answer is very simple. Does God only speak Zulu? And that will make them stop and think. It's such a blinkers on question. So I'm going to throw it back at them.
Yes, yes, yes. Good point.
Thank you.
Good point. Okay, and what are some of the other things that they ask you to challenge, what you do and who you are?
It's not just about being white. It's about being a white female. Understand?
Yes.
In the African culture, first of all, female is a slightly lower level.
Yes.
There's actually not too many challenges because when people hear I'm Mkhulu Tsepo, immediately I'm no longer female.
Yes.
I'm then male.
Yes, because your glozis is a Mkhulu, not a gogo.
Yes. He's not my Dlozi, he's my best friend.
Where do you get the name Tsepo from?
Through the ceremonies you get named. There's a ceremony where it's a bit controversial, but I'm going to talk about it. Your ancestor takes possession of your body.
Yes.
He then tells the teacher, I'm so-and-so and I'm here to do A, B, and C.
Yes.
So that is how the naming situation happens.
Yes. So in that process, what did your Glozi say they are here to do?
Tsepi, he decided he's not going to go and do that ritual and that ceremony. So he said to me, no, it's fine. He calls me Kulu. He says, Kulu, we'll do it ourselves.
Yes.
So he told me to put it on a cloth when I went to sleep. And then through this dream, he came into my body with me and he showed me we're going to get bigger and bigger together. It's nobody else's business. He's very, very stubborn.
And what is your relationship like with Kulu?
Tsep. He's my best friend.
Do you feel that outside of the work you do of consulting, that you are guided in your own personal and day-to-day life?
Tsep runs every single minute of every single day of my life. So I just sit back and whatever he says I must do, I do. I trust him 100%.
Does he only present himself to you in dreams or in other ways as well?
Oh, no, I see him, I hear him. I speak to him as if he's sitting in front of me like you are.
What do your children now feel about your gift and your calling? Do they also have gifts?
They do. My youngest is now 17. When I was training in Soweto, she used to come with me. So she knows a lot of exactly what she has to do going forward.
Yes.
But she's too young.
Yes.
My eldest is very psychic. He doesn't want to do this. The middle one will decide when she's 27.
Do you think it's important that it has to be through the process of Tutwasa, or the one that you're saying is psychic, they can just be a psychic that maybe, reads cards or that kind of thing?
No, I think the advantage that they have is because they've grown up watching me do what I do. They don't necessarily have to twasa.
Yes. But for you, it was an important process because of how it affected your life.
Absolutely. I had to learn the traditional way to an extent so that I can then go ahead and teach. And that's the thing about twasa, is that you're going to then have to teach other people in the future.
Yes. Do you think that it was important for you to teach in terms of your journey and not just to practice and consult?
Since the beginning, other Sangomas have been saying to me, but you're a Gobela and you're going to be a Gobela. And I never felt ready. And then recently, I think it's the past year,
Yes.
I thought, okay, I'll try, but it's such a massive job.
Yes. And a big responsibility.
Huge.
Yeah.
Because those people now become your spiritual children.
Yes.
So if they're having relationship problems, they speak to me. So I'm a mom of many people now.
And how has your spiritual journey actually helped you as a mother?
It hasn't.
It hasn't. Has it made it harder?
The children resent me because I'm always helping other people. They feel like they don't have access to me. It's created a bit of a hatred from the children.
And I can see how that can be the case, because if you're mother to others, you're not being 100% mother to us.
And it's hard enough being a mother nowadays anyway. And their expectations from, sorry to say, social media are unrealistic.
Yes, yes. What about as a wife?
He's passed away. So no, that's not applicable.
Yes, yes, yes. Do you still feel his spirit with you?
I talk to him. I'm a medium as well, so he's passed, but he's around.
Yes. What would you like South Africans to know about you that maybe they have horrible misconceptions about?
There's one message I've always wanted to get across since I started on this journey. And it's especially concerning the white people in South Africa. This thing is real. And you don't have to necessarily believe in it for it to happen to you. And that is the message I've been trying to get across all these years that I've been practicing, is that these things will be done to you.
Anything else that you think you would like people to know about you as a person?
Maybe just that I'm also human.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming to share your story. I know that many people will be challenged with the whole concept of just what you do, let alone you already doing it. And I think in times that we live in where there's a lot of judgment and a lot of comments, it's difficult to come and share your story, but I appreciate that you came through to do it, Bronwyn. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hashtag Unpacked with Relebogile. What are your thoughts on today's conversation? It might seem different. You might even think it's weird, but I'm sure we sparked some thoughts in your mind, because yes, Bronwyn's story is real and this is her reality that she came to share with us today. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night. Next time on Unpacked.
I had just come back from work. I saw a man crouched behind my vehicle. I screamed. And he starts smashing my window in. And the first thing he said, open up. I pushed him away. He pushed me back. He slapped me. I'm at number 8. There's an intruder in the garage. Please, please, please come and help me.
Thank you so much for watching Unpacked with Relebogile Mabotja. Make sure you subscribe to my channel where you can get to watch more episodes. But more importantly, you can be part of our online community. Comment down below, share with us who you'd like to see on the show, what story you'd like us to discuss. We love engaging with you. Keep it coming and don't forget to subscribe.